Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome back to another episode of NBC Journal. This is Farah with you, and
of course, Lana Abad. And starting with the headlines, Trump tested positive for coronavirus.
And then moving on to the second topic, the mourn of the Palestinian artist Mohammed Joulani.
And famous people born on 7th of October, we'll talk about them.
And then we're going to talk about trending topics on social media throughout the week.
And Judy Alcala refusing to change her name in a European country.
And then finally we're going to talk with our special guest, Khairia Ayad.
So keep watching.
Hello again, our dear viewers. Lana, did you hear that Donald Trump was affected by COVID-19,
yes,
and his wife?
These are one of trending news in the previous week. And of course, the First Lady Melania Trump is also infected by this virus. And as you heard, that Trump said, although that this lady wears a lot this mask, but she got infected by
because of him, of course. Donald Trump, throughout this whole crisis, COVID-19 crisis, he said many claims that coronavirus is nothing, and as he called it, the China virus, to be more exact.
Yes, and he said a night before his infection that the end of this pandemic is in sight, and this is not a true story by, of course, by the world, after the kill of 207,000 people in America.
And he also said another claim, which he said that coronavirus will go away in warmer, let's say, weather.
Warmer weather
and nothing happened. Coronavirus is still here.
Yes.
And if you watched, 2 days ago, there was a tweet by Twitter saying that anyone who wishes death or harm to Donald Trump or his wife, his account will be suspended and they will delete all the tweets. Yes, because lots of people took to Twitter to wish him death, actually.
I want to begin by thanking all of the incredible medical professionals, the doctors, the nurses, everybody at Walter Reed Medical Center. I think it's the finest in the world, for the incredible job they've been doing. I came here, wasn't feeling so well. I feel much better now. We're working hard to get me all the way back. I have to be back because we still have to make America great again. We've done an awfully good job of that, but we still have steps to go and we have to finish that job.
Okay, I know about that, but this is a great news.
Yes.
And also, did you see that during this campaign and the campaign trail and everything with Trump, he was not taking the precautions like wearing masks and social distancing,
because he
was not following these rules, and now he's, I think, forced to be away from this campaign trial for the 3rd of November.
And he took to Twitter to share a video saying that he's doing well and the doctors are doing all they can to do in order to help him.
He was thanking the medical staff and people who wished him to be very well soon.
To recover, and that's it for Donald Trump. We will see what's going to happen next.
Yes, it's uncertain period of quarantine. We don't know when this quarantine will be ever end in this White House.
Now the virus that we're talking about having to do, a lot of people think that goes away in April with the heat, as the heat comes in. Wash your hands, stay clean. You don't have to necessarily grab every handrail unless you have to. You do certain things that you do when you have the flu. The Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. You know that, right? Coronavirus.
The Palestinian Ministry of Culture mourns deceased the artist Mohammed Joulani in Palestine of 37 years old. He was by cancer.
Yes, the news of his death surfaced on the social media and was on the tongues of people on Friday. I don't know, I was so sad to hear that such an important person for the, let's say, Palestinian case was dead. We lost a very important person to this.
Yes, as we see here in the pictures, he was, this artist was expressing, as we know that his paints and works depicted his hometown of Jerusalem and describes the contemporary of Palestine. He's also like, you know, as these pictures and the shapes and the colors are very eye-catching, and he has geometric shapes, and that refers to the Palestinian landscape.
Yes, he wanted to share the Palestinian case to the people and let them see what is Palestine throughout his arts. And he studied art in Al-Quds University in Abu Dis, and he returned to teach there. And at the same time, he worked and believed in his art.
Yes, he's called the Van Gogh of Palestine. So
yeah, let's see this video together. Since we are talking about famous Palestinian people, we are going to talk about the chef Judy Alcala, who refused to change the name of her book because it represented her country and her values.
Yes, Palestine on a Plate, they refused to publish this name, as they all the time connect the name of Palestine with Israel, and they don't use Palestine as like a real country or a real state.
Judy Alcala is a very passionate woman. She started her journey in cooking with a small restaurant, and then published her first book, let's say, about the Palestinian cuisine and the dishes that we do here in Palestine.
Yes, and she also launched an app on smartphones talking about the distinct recipes of Palestinian cuisine and her best recipes according to the Palestinian cuisine.
And she wanted to share the dishes that we do here in Palestine to the whole world, because she said Israel didn't just steal the land.
Yes,
Israel stole everything related to Palestine, including the dishes that we do here.
Yes, as you know, like Israel is not like, it was not ever a real country or a culture.
Yes.
And for example, if we talk about the French colony or the Britain colony, all of these colonizations, they were having a real culture, a real state and everything, but they came to other countries in the Middle East to colonize them. But for Israel, it's not a culture, it's not a country, and now they're stealing everything, the food, the clothes, and the culture, the traditions of the Palestinians, and they put them as theirs.
That's exactly why she did that, and that's exactly why she did her application, and that's why she shared the book with this name.
And if you follow her Instagram page, is full of food for food lovers, you will enjoy this page.
And as promised, our dearest viewers, every episode we give you a new and interesting topic to talk about. Lana, what do you have for us this episode?
Yes, for today we're having the famous people that was born on the 7th of October, starting with John Edward Hopcraft. Is an American theoretical computer scientist. His textbooks on theory of computation and data structures are regarded as standards in their fields. Let's see this video together.
And the other side of Lake Washington, where Microsoft and many of the companies are today, simply was woods. And it was a city that you could walk and explore.
And moving to the second one, our secret agent, as he was called, and the miracle child of his family, Vladimir Putin, is the current president of Russia. He's into his 4th term as president. What a great personality for the third one. Simon Cowell is an English television personality and entrepreneur. He became famous as a judge talent shows like Pop Idol, American Idol, and The X Factor.
About 6 months later.
Yeah. So thanks to Squidly and Diddly, they're here. Yeah, you have a son now, a boy. Yeah. And how is that? Are you taking to fatherhood? Or you?
And moving to the final famous person for today, Thom Yorke is a multifaceted artist, best known as the vocalist, songwriter, and the pianist of the rock band Radiohead. Apart from playing the piano, he is also an expert at playing the drum and bass guitar.
Open your mouth wide.
I'm going to our trending part with you, Farah. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Lana. And for today's episode, the trending topics, starting with 89-year-old Derlin Newey started delivering pizzas to make ends meet. He never thought one of his customers would change everything.
It's the best tasting pizza, but more because of the delivery guy.
Hello, are you looking for some pizza?
Collectively as a community, we all came together and we were able to raise over $12,000 for this amazing person.
This morning, the Valdezes went to Newey's house for a delivery of their own.
Good morning, Derlin. How you doing?
Newey had no idea.
We collectively collected a gift for you. And I am here to deliver that to you on behalf of the TikTok community.
Newey didn't even know what TikTok was.
You communicate with each other?
Yes.
Through the telephone?
But he knew what $12,000 was and couldn't believe it.
How do I ever say thank you? I don't know what to say.
Moving on to Salt Bay, he is in trouble again in USA because he broke rules of COVID-19 there. That's not his first time, as I mentioned earlier. Another one of his stores actually got into a trial suit because he broke some of the rules there, and which caused him to close his new shop right after it was opened. Luis Suarez made plenty of headlines with his Atletico Madrid debut last week. Barcelona fans must have had their head on their hands when Suarez emerged from the bench at the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium and instantly provided an asset for Marcos Llorente. However, unless you've been keeping a close eye on the La Liga fixtures this weekend, you've been forgiven for not being completely aware that Suarez made his first home start for Atletico Madrid after leaving Barcelona.
Cuidado porque va Luis Suárez, va Luis, pasa y viene el remate de Luis, engancha, ¿quién lo hace? Suárez, tapó el arquero área, tiro de esquina.
President Emmanuel Macron has unveiled a plan to define France's secular values against what he termed as Islamist radicalism, saying the religion is in crisis all over the world, not just in France. And we all know that, especially in France, hijab is not allowed in public schools and in public services for the workers who work there. Macron insisted no concessions would be made in a new drive to push religion out of education and the public sector in France. Islam is a religion that is in crisis all over the world today. We are just not facing and seeing this in our country. That's what he said.
Hello again, our viewers. Our guest for tonight's show is 26 years old. She was born in Nablus and raised in the USA. She got her master in South Korea in Inter-Asian Ngo Studies. And that's why we're having her for tonight's show, because she has a lot of experiences around the globe.
Exactly. We have Khairia here with us, an NBC journal. How are you, Khairia?
I'm doing well.
We did a brief introduction about you. Can you please tell us more and tell the audience more about yourself?
So basically, my name is Khairia Ayad. I live in the city of Nablus, Palestine. I'm currently 26 years old, as you know. I studied in Al-Quds Bard University, and I got my English literature degree there. And then afterwards, I moved to South Korea, and I completed my master's in Inter-Asian NGO. I also, right now, I'm currently working with an organization called Qanat, which is Seeds for Development and Culture. Yeah, that's all I could say.
Okay, Khairia, how these experiences around the world, like from Palestine to USA and then Korea, a lot of experiences. How does these experiences affect your personality and shape what Khairia is now?
So basically traveling to Korea or just traveling everywhere? Because when I was younger, I lived in the USA and then I moved to Palestine and then I moved to Korea. So which one is it?
Okay, Khairia, can you tell, Korea is like a new place to study. Like I listen, my friends and the people around me, they always like go study abroad to USA, let's say UK. Korea is like, you know, Lana, it's a new place to go and do masters.
It's a different culture.
Yes, a different culture.
Experiences.
Why did you choose Korea to study there?
The reason I chose Korea is because actually it was very spontaneous at first. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go or not. I was volunteering with some organizations here in Nablus, doing charity work and such, and I became curious about NGO studies through that. But then when I was in college, I had a friend who was very close, and we both agreed that we would travel and do our masters together. And so we found out that there was a scholarship for this university called Songongae 대학교, which is Songongae, and Songgong actually means success. And when we heard about this scholarship, we were like, okay, we're going to apply for it together and see if we can get into it. So choosing to go to Korea, we already had like a slight background on Korean history. Yes. We knew about the colonization of Japan. I mean, when Japan colonized Korea, we had this feeling that Korean culture and Palestinian culture, as though they sound very different, are quite similar.
So do you work now in a certain field, or do you use this kind of a study? It's different for Palestinian people here, I think, in the job field. And so how do you work? What the things that you're working on, or the projects that you're working on with this study?
So basically with NGO studies, this whole curriculum was based off of politics, globalization, urbanization, gentrification. You kind of have to like study all the issues that are going around you currently, and then finding out what the issue is, and then trying to find a solution to it. So basically, if you start working in an NGO, you're trying to better the environment, you're trying to better the society, and making positive change. So we worked a lot with activists. We went to different regions where we learned about what was going on in the society, or even like, for example, there were some shops being destroyed by capitalist companies, and so we were going to places and trying to figure out like why can't they keep those shops and how they can stop it from
like reforming people lifestyles and experiences, jobs and so on.
Yes, this is such a noble thing to do. Khairia, do you have any advice for students who want to apply to study abroad in Korea exactly?
I think for me, first of all, you have to research a lot. You have to know what you want to study. I suggest that you Google a lot. There's a website called studyinkorea.org. If you go to that website, they actually help you with the application process and finding scholarships and everything. Nice. There are also some universities that are not very well known, but they do have English programs. So it's nice that you, when you're applying, you email the universities and ask them if they have a scholarship program or if they have programs in English. I think the most important thing about studying in Korea is also that having the willingness to learn Korean before you go there, or just know a little bit of Korean, because you're going to need it when you're traveling around. And also to get involved with the students there when you get there.
Okay, Khairia, so what's your ambition? Like, you have 3 languages, I guess. The Arabic you're fluent in, and English, and now the Korean language. So what's your future steps for work, for career, for self-improvement, and etc.?
Well, I think for me, they're kind of simple, but they're a bit more complicated. So at first, I would really like to become fluent in Korean, because I do know enough Korean right now. I can speak like basic conversation with people, and I can understand way better than I can speak, but that's also on my list. I also would like to become a writer one day, an author of a book, and then maybe if I write a book, I could get it translated, and I would like it to be about Palestine, because I believe that our situation is very important to talk about. I'd also like to make stronger relationship between Korea and Palestine, because honestly, when I was in Korea, I dealt with this issue that every time I told people where I was from, they'd look at me confused and be like, Pakistan? I'm like, no. And then when they figure out where I live, they're just like, do you live in the desert? And I'm like, no, I do not live in the desert. I live in a place with like grass and trees and everything. Yeah, so I think also like educating Koreans about Palestinian culture and the conflict itself, because actually Korea's problem in the past, the colonization, which was like from 1910 till 1945, is very similar to the current situation of Palestinians in Israel.
Yes, we're proud to have such an ambassador, Palestinian ambassador.
Yes, you are going to make a change. We believe in you, Khairia. We are so happy to have you here with us in this episode, and we hope to hear more about your achievements in the future. Thank you so much.
And as usual,
I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much, Khairia.
We wish you all the luck.
Yes, as usual, MBC Journal and MBC News bring to our viewers all the best and entertainment and fascinating news.
Yes, and with new topics every week with me, Farah and Lana. Thank you so much
for
watching.
See you next week, and thank you for watching.